Now let's streamline accounts.py. In our version 1, we have these functions related to accounts: fetch account balance and fetch account balance b2. So both of these functions are used to get account balances. The thing is, this fetch account balances function is limited and it gets only the demo and real account balance information. But this fetch account balance p2, it can also get tournament accounts. So we will drop this account and have this account in our refactored version, and then we have get tournament accounts, and then get active account balance, switch account, stage active account, portfolio position change, and then refill demo balance p2 and refill demo balance p4. We will drop this thing, we will drop this version to refill demo function, and we will have this refill demo v4 in our refactored accounts.py. So we need to write 4 or 5 functions. Okay, now let's get it started. Okay, first thing, let's import logging. Okay, in our accounts.py, we need to have access to WebSocket for sending WebSocket request and message handler from where we can get particular message. So we need to have access to this thing. So we need to define a class that will accept these WebSocket message, WebSocket handler and message handler. Right now, let's define couple of attributes for this. Right, so we need to have active balance id or active account balance id, right? And ws manager for website manager instance, and message handler for message handler instance. Okay, next what can we do is, let's write the function actually. So let's write this function, fetch account balance p2. Let's copy this function, and paste it here. And instead of this name, I'm going to give it a name like this. Okay, and this self dot balance data, now we need to get balance data from message handler. So what we can do is actually define this balance data variable there, right? So let's cut and paste here, right? And next thing that we need to do is we need to make WebSocket request. Now this is how we need to make we can make requests. So self dot ws manager dot this ws manager has function called send message, and we need to pass. So this send message receives two things, the name and the message, right? Okay, so we need to pass message only. Okay, so this is what we need to do, and we can get rid of this thing. And now instead of this needs to be self dot message message handler dot it has attribute called balance data. Whenever we're making the function, we set these attributes to be known to ensure that we're getting the latest data, right? And then instead of this, now replace with this. Let's import time, right? So we wait for balance data to arrive. Then as soon as balance data arrives, we get out of the loop, and then now we can return this balance data. Perfect, looks good, right? Let's add a doc string as well, right? Now let's expose, or let's have gateway to access this function in our main class. So first thing we're gonna have to do is actually import this class. So from version 2 dot accounts, import account manager, and we need to pass these two instances to account manager. So this is going to be, let's name it something like account manager, right? And then this is going to be account manager, and we need to pass message handler, and we also need to pass this WebSocket instance, right? Now we can write a gateway function here to access functions from accounts.py, right? So let's say let's name it the same. Okay, and what we can do is return self dot account manager dot get account balances, right? Now let's invoke this function and see if it's working or not. So what we can do is print algo API dot get account balances and run the script. Okay, so it says send message missing one required positional argument MSG. So we're getting error from here. Oh, actually we did not pass the message variable. We need to pass this MSG, right? This dictionary. Now let's see. Okay, the problem is we are stuck inside a loop, and the problem is we are not handling balances data. Right here in our raw version we can see this is the message name, and this is how we are handling the message. Now we need to write handler for this thing. So if the message name is balance, do this thing. Let's write a function to handle balance message, right? And then self dot balance data is going to be balance data, and we need to pass this function name here as value for this balances key. Okay, so far so good. This time we must be able to get balances data. Right now I'm not registered to any of the tournaments, so so we are going to see only the real and demo account details. We're still not getting it. It's logged into an account, WebSocket connected, right? WebSocket opened, then we're not getting handle balances, self dot balance data, okay. And here what we are doing is self dot message handler dot balance data equals to none. Keep looping. Okay, so why we are running into infinite loop? Let's see if we are getting to this function or not. Print. Let's print the message. Okay, so we're not getting up to that point. What may be the reason? WebSocket, actually let's print the WebSocket message. Okay, let's print whatever message is coming from WebSocket. I doubt we are getting authenticated or not. If we are not getting profile message, that may be one of the reason. So getting time sync and getting profile message, but we are not getting, okay, we're not getting balance data. We are not getting balance data. Did we make any mistake in payload? Self.ws send message and message. This is exactly what we need to have, right? And self.message handler dot balance data. So we're not getting the balance data. Okay. Let's see if this will solve the issue. We're not getting balance data from the WebSocket. Get account balances. Get account balances. We are calling that function, right? Let's see if we are getting to this point or not. Print. Hello, we must be getting to this point. Okay, so it says hello, right? Says hello, and the problem may be this: we are not waiting for profile message to arrive, like, so let's add conditions that waits until that profile message arrives. So we can add this condition, right? Self dot, we have something called MSC handler, and this message handler has something called profile, right? Okay, so this may be the reason. Now we might be able to get balance data, time sync, and here you can see we're getting the balance data, right? Now let's get rid of this print thing, right? Let's get rid of this one, and also in message handler let's get rid of this, and also get rid of this. We are printing the message here, right? We must get message printed, this time only the balance data. Okay, so we are getting the balance data, right? This means this function is working as expected. Now let's add one condition that ensures these functions are called only when we are connected to iqoption. For example, let's say we are not connected to iqoption, right? If like someone tries to call this function without calling connect, what issue we are going to run into is this is coming from WebSocket, and we're getting this issue because we are not connecting to iqoption. We are not getting authenticated to iqoption, right, to WebSocket. So for this, what we can do is actually uh, here we are using this variable self dot connected false, right? So we can make a use of this thing, right? And then do kind of validations there. So what we can do is let's write this function. So this function will check if we are connected to iqoption or not, and instead of raising exceptions, what I'm going to do is let's do this, right? And if we are not connected to iqoption, there is no point moving forward. So what we can do is sys dot exit, right? This is what we can do. And now before calling this function here, what we can do is self dot ensure connected, right? So first, whenever we call this function, first this will call this function, and this function will exit the program if we are not connected to iqoption. So this time we must get friendly message and the program must exit. So as expected, first we got our algo class initialized, and then we got this this message called bot is not connected, call connect first, right? So and one more thing, okay, this needs to be error or warning, not necessarily error, but this is warning, right? Now instead of info it will have label warning and also the class name as we have, right? Okay, so this thing is working as expected, so this function is complete. Now the next function that we have is for getting tournament accounts, right? So let's copy this function and paste it here, right? So now we need to call this function to get account balances, right? And we can get rid of this loop because we are already looping here, so no need to loop twice, right? I want to write this get tournament account a bit differently. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import data class from data classes, okay, and I'm going to define this model call. So this model called tournament account, and this will have these three attributes: id, name, balance. It's kind of class, right? But the thing is we don't have to define it this way. All we can do is we can pass like this dot instance dot id equals to this, or if we want to get the value, we can what we can do is instance dot get id, get name, and get balance, right? Since we are moving toward modularity, we need to slowly have, like advanced classes and models and functions, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is here I am going to do list comprehension. So now we have tournament accounts, right? And this tournament accounts has three things: id, name, and balances, right? And so for now let's loop for balance data, right? And we get balance data from this, right? This balance data contains all the balance account informations including tournament accounts. So what we can do is for item in this, right? Actually let's break down and we need to check if the item means particular balance in balance or account information, and this account or balance which is a dictionary has something called type, and if type is 2 it means it's a demo account. Now we need to get values for name, balance, and name sorry id, name, and balance, right? And let me show you how we can get these details. Let's call this function, right? This function will return, okay, so we're getting error because of this function. For now let's comment this. Okay, warning bot is not connected. Okay, call connect first. Okay, so this is the balance or account data, and here you can see it is a list, and list contains couple of dictionaries, and each dictionary contains information about particular account or particular balance, right? And this each dictionary has key called id. This is that particular account id, right? Either tournament, demo, or real account id, right? And then the type: 1 for real account, 4 for demo, and 2 for 4 for demo and 2 for tournament account, right? So the amount is the account balance or capital, and it has other things called tournament name. So in case if it's a tournament account, it will have name as well, right? So we now what we can do is, so here what we are essentially doing is we are, so this thing what we are doing is we are looping for this dictionary, right? And then So the each dictionary is a item inside a loop, right? So and from each item we are trying to get these values, right? Now what we can do here is item colon, so it has something called id, right? And item uh, name is tournament. This needs to be tournament name. This needs to be tournament name, and the balance, this needs to be amount from item. So far so good. We're getting an error. Let's see why we're getting this error. What it says is was not closed. So id name balance, right? This seems okay. Then for item insert dot balance data, if item type equals to this needs to be this way. That's why we're getting that error. Okay, so this is all we need to do, and now we can get rid of this thing. For now I will comment this, right? Now let's expose this method in our this class. So what we can do is, my bad, first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to ensure that we are connected to iqoption, right? And then we can call get tournament account function, right? Now instead of get account balance, let's call this function called get tournament accounts. It must return empty list because at the moment I'm not registered to any of the tournament, so it says none. Okay, and that's because we are not returning this list comprehension thing, right? So we need to return this list. This time it must return empty list. Okay, so we're getting empty list. Just to make sure if this function is working as expected or not, what we can do is let's try to get real account. If it returns real account detail as tournament account object, we can consider it's working, and as expected it is returning the real account id, right? uh, if we want to, let's say, access individual item, what we can do is, since it returns list, we can do this, and this thing, from this thing what we can do is do id. And here you can see it's returning the id, right? So this is how it works. One thing I want to do here is, instead of using hard-coded value, here in settings.py we are defining type for account real and tournament, right? So let's use this value there. First we need to import settings from version 2.settings. For now I want to get account tournament, right? This account tournament contains value for tournament type, which is 2, right? And let's run. Will it return empty list or not? We will get an error because we are trying to access id from like item placed in 0 index, but since this returns empty list for tournament, we will run into an issue. So let's get, it's better to get rid of that, right? Okay, so it's returning empty list. This means this get tournament function is also working. Now let's move forward. Okay, so the next function that we need to write is, actually on message we are doing this thing, right? We are setting demo account as default account, right? and we need to, and this is very important to do this because we need to get a particular account ID when we are doing like making market data request, or most importantly when we are making trade like a binary option or forex option or any kind of whenever we are placing the trades, we need to have this thing. Without this thing we cannot do anything, so we must ensure that we do this thing, right? Even for this account switching, we need to get account balance ID, right? And when we are doing demo refill, we need to get a demo account ID. So what we need to do now is, actually let's write a function in accounts.py which will set this default account type. So let's give it a name, something like set a default account type. Yeah, this is okay, right? And next thing is we need to get profile message from this message handler. So let's see, first let's check if this self dot message handler or dot profile is none or not. If it is not none, we can either do like this or we can do this, right? It's the same thing. So if profile message is not none, by default we are setting profile message to none, right? So if profile message is not none, this means we can get inside the block, and here what we can or what we need to do is actually get the balances. So this is what we need to do, right? So we need to get balances, right? This time we cannot access message like this. Instead what we need to do is we need to access it from message handler dot profile, right? And this message or account information is a list. That means we can actually loop, right? We can loop through it, and like in the tutorial version what we did is, if the account type is 4, or if it's a demo account, set its ID as active balance ID. This is what we did, right? So this is what we did, right? Now let's print if we are getting this active balance ID or not. And another thing that we need to do is actually place this inside this connect function, because we need to set up this thing when we are authenticated to when we get authenticated to WebSocket. That's exactly what we are doing, right? So when we get profile message, that means we get this after getting authenticated. We are setting, as soon as we get profile message, we are setting default account type. So we will do the same thing here as well. So this will get us authenticated, and once we get confirmation that we are being authenticated, now let's do this thing, self dot we have something called account this instance account manager. This account manager has this function called set default account. This does not take any arguments, right? Now let's now actually we don't need to call this, right? On connect function, this new set default account will also be called. Let's see if it is setting default demo account ID or not. Here we can see it's returning the ID. This means it is setting the default or demo account ID as active ID. Perfect, it's working as expected. But I want to do something different this time. Instead of setting demo account as a default account all the time, uh, maybe like in many cases I might want to set default real account as a default account, right? And in settings we have this variable called default account type, right? By default it's set to demo. We can also set this to real by default, right? So in case if I want to, you know, like set a default account as real account, not the demo account, this function will not this function will still set the demo account as uh, default or active balance id, because we are hard coding like this, right? So now I want to build features for this. Okay, so what we can do is, let's import this default account type from settings, right? Default account type from settings, and here let's write one more attribute called self dot active account type, and this active account type uh, will contain a string value like demo or real. Okay, so default account type, perfect. uh, okay, we might run into issue when people type, like we might sometimes type uh, you know, something other than real or demo. And if we type something like this, we don't have this the kind of account available, right? We have only real and demo account. So to prevent from this kind of value being passed and breaking our program, let's write a function that will validate if the account being passed is a valid account type or not. Okay, and this function can accept first thing gonna be self, and can accept an argument called account type, right? And what it can do is validate if account type dot lower, right? If we did str, this will become hello. This thing, right? If account type dot lower, uh, not in real and demo, if the value that's being passed in default account type is something other than demo or real. Right now, like other thing that we can have is tournament account. Right now we don't have that feature. If the value that's being passed is other than real and demo, we can, like we pretty much know that okay, this is not this is not a valid account type, and with this unknown account type we cannot do anything, right? So what we can do is actually uh, raise an error, something like this, right? Raise an error and say something like this. Okay, account type being passed is not it's invalid account type and need to be either real or demo, right? And another thing we might want to do is, whenever invalid account type is passed, since it's unknown account and we cannot do any operation, there is no point getting stock to system. What we can do is actually exit. I think it's best idea or good idea to exit from the system, because there is nothing we can do with this unknown account type, right? Sys dot exit, right? And now here let's call this function self dot validate account type. So what this will do is it will check account type on initialization. We are initializing this account manager in this iqalgo API class, right? So now if unknown account type is passed, it will exit on initialization. It cannot go beyond initialization. Right now let's see if that happens or not. We're calling connect, right? Let's see if we're going to get error. Okay, here you can see Okay, so we are getting this error, right? fs ffsf, this is invalid account type, need to be one of real or demo. We also called this connect function. Connect function should have called login and then WebSocket, other things, right? But we couldn't we did not get up to that point because this happened on initialization, right? Okay, so this thing is also working. Next thing what we are doing is this. So now what we need to do is, let's say if real account is passed, uh, we need to have capabilities to handle both real and demo account default account switching, right? So now let's define this attribute. This attribute will, what it will do is actually it will do this thing. It will so what this does is, since it's a dictionary, uh, if the account type is 4, so this dictionary now will have key called demo, and it will contain demo account balance information. Likewise, if type is 1, which means real account, it will contain key called real, and this real key will contain value for real account, right? Next thing what we can do is we can actually set the active account ID or active balance ID by doing this self dot available accounts, right, which is a dictionary which contains these two things, right, these two keys. So let's pass value from our settings dot by default account type, right? So what we can do is self dot active account type. So we are passing the key, right? The key is either real or demo, right? The key is either real or demo, right? So we are passing the key, and it will get us the balance data, and this balance data is a dictionary. It contains many keys, and one of the key is called ID. Now let's print if correct ID is being fetched or not. So self dot active balance ID, and let's run the script. We are calling connect, right? Connect also calls this set a default account function. So we're getting an error, self dot reactive balance ID equals to self dot active account type ID. So it says key error. Okay, actually this function is not returning anything, right? This validate function is not returning anything. So let's do one thing. If this condition is not met, that means the account type that's being passed is valid. We can actually return the account type. This is what we can do, right? This time we must be able to get the account ID, active balance ID, WebSocket connected, and we are getting the active ID. So right, we're getting 93. So I have two accounts ending with 93 and 94. So 94 is for demo and 93 for real. Here in the setting, I set a real account as default. Now I will set demo account as default account, and let's see default or active account, and let's see. Okay, so it's printing the ID 94, right? So it means this function that we just wrote is now capable of handling setting default account based on the values from settings.py with this key, right? And if this key is missing, we are probably going to run into an issue. Let's see what's going to happen. So we're getting error, a default account type from cannot import, right? So later on we will handle this thing as well, right? For now let's focus on other thing. Okay, now after doing this, instead of printing balance ID, I want to print this text, right? which will which will print a message saying active account and account type demo or real, and the balance of that account. Right now we are we have set demo to be default, right? We should get a demo account. So active account demo and balance 10,000. Perfect, working as expected. Let's also check for real account. Okay, it says real account and balance is 00. All right, so this function is also working. Now we can focus on other remaining functions. So far we have written 1 2 3 4 function. We can get rid of these commented lines, right? So far so good. Next thing that we need to do, or next function that we need to write, is for getting active account get active account balance. Okay, now we need to write this function here. Okay, now the function is get active balances, right? And we don't need to make much modification except that, right? It remains the same thing. No need to write break, right? Let's get rid of break, because when we return, when we have return, it will not go past beyond this line, so there is no point having break statement there. Okay, now let's expose or define a gateway for getting this accounts.by.get active account balance, right? We can do this here like this. So the name needs to be this. We make sure we are connected and we call this function. Now let's call this function and see if this is working or not. Instead of get means it needs to be this. Okay, I'm going to clear the console, run this script. Is it going to return account balance or not? Okay, so it's returning 0. That means we are logged into real account. Perfect, we are logged into real account and demo account. Let's make sure it's working for both account. Okay, it's returning 10,000, means it's working as expected. Okay, so this function is complete, right? So next function that we need to write is for switching demo refilling, right? First let's write this demo refilling function, right? Like I mentioned earlier, we will draw version 2 and we will keep this thing version 4 demo refilling function. Okay, perfect. Now what we need to do is the function name, let's name it instead of version 4. Now since we only have we are going to have only one function for refilling demo balance, let's name it this way. And other thing is, with this function we need to pass the amount as well, right? Instead of asking or doing this int, let's do amount, right? And this function must accept these argument, and this needs to be int, and let's give default value of 10,000, right? And name send message, other thing can remain same except this now needs to be self dot ws manager. This ws manager has a function called send message, right? And this thing also needs to be changed. Now the profile message is stored in self dot message handler dot profile, right? Perfect, looks good, right? Okay, now we need to write function in message handler for receiving refill demo account related message, right? For that the key is training balance reset. Okay, so we need to have this thing in message handler, right? So copy, and then here copy above function, and we need to define now function. We need to define new function for this thing, and okay, let's define function for this. Okay, for now let's print the message to see what we are getting, right? And self dot this, right? Looks okay. Okay, now let's define gateway function in our main class. Refill demo, right? Connected amount can be 10,000. Okay, now let's call that function refill demo account. Run this script. We might not see anything because we did not do time.sleep, right? So it says none, and that's because this function does not return anything, right? So it does not return anything. This is what we can do. Okay, so what we need to do is actually wait for let's do time.sleep once again. It will be enough for this, right? And let's run the script again. Okay, so we are getting the balance for this training balance reset, and it says user balance equal to desired amount, and that's because we already have 10,000 in our demo account, right? So let's handle this message. So the status code is 4,000, right? Now let's handle the message properly in message handler. So what we can do is actually do this. We are getting status code 4001, right? So if message dot status equals to 4001, simply print warning and the message. Okay, let's do this. Okay, now we're getting warning user balance equals to desired amount. Okay, how about, okay, and now let's pass different amount than 10,000. It says we already have 10,000, right? We can pass it from here as well. Amount, let's say 10,001, and see if it is going to work or not. Okay, this time it did not return anything, right? And it returned status code 2000. That means the request was successful, right? And our demo account balance was reset. Now let's, like, we can confirm it by doing this. So how can we do is, let's say, now let's make it like, let's set this to, now let's set this to 10,000, and after doing this what we can do is actually print algo ap algo API dot get active account balance, right? Let's make sure we are like the default account type is set to demo. Okay, it is, right? Now let's see if status code 2000 means successfully reset the balance reset or not. Okay, and it is, right? Here we're getting 2000 status code, and we are also like calling get active account balance function, and it's returning 10,000. That means so that means the account balance was successfully refilled. Right now let's write one more block which will be for successful demo refilling. If status code is 2000, that means we can consider demo account balance being reset, right? Okay, run the script. We will get like equals like a user balance equals to desired amount, right? Because we already have 10,000 and we are trying to refill with 10,000, right? Now instead of 10,000, let's make it to 12,000. Let's say 1,000, 10,050. We must get something like demo account reset successfully, right? Demo account balance reset successfully, and the demo account balance is now 1,050. All right, so this function is also complete. Now we need to write switch account function, and this switch account function has couple of functions associated with it. Actually 3 functions associated with it, right? So switch account, then stage active account, and portfolio position change. These two things I think gonna remain the same. I guess we need to make some modification in switch account, right? Now let's complete this function and we are done for account.py reformatting, right? Now let's go to accounts.py. Actually we can copy this function as it is, this portfolio position change, right? We can copy as it is. We don't have to make like many modifications for it. Okay, let's copy this thing, and paste it down here, right? And also this function above it, this stage active account. Okay, let's copy this function also. We don't need to make modification for this function also. Okay, and now we have this function instead of this, right? Self.activeBalance ID as it is, right? So these two functions are being just copy and pasted. Need to make modification here, so this needs to be okay. This is fine, no need to make modification, right? .s manager dot send message. Okay, fine. Now let's write the main function responsible for switching real to demo, demo to real, and probably tournaments account, right? So this is the function that we need to write, and this function takes account type. It takes one argument, right? And then here also we are doing account validation. Okay, fine. Let's do this validation here in our new script as well. This time we have dedicated function for validating the account types, right? So what we can do is actually call this function, right? So we have this function and we're passing this account type to this, and next thing it's doing is account type. It's doing this. Now we have this function get account balances, right? next thing we need to do is demo and real account id set none. So instead of writing these two in 2 lines, what I'm going to do is this, and it can be none and none, right? Okay, we can get rid of extra line. And next thing is for account in account, right? So for account in account, let's copy this thing, right? So now we need to do for loop. So for account in accounts, if account type equals to real account, set this to this, right? Account id, real account id gonna be id from account, and then for demo account, demo account id. Okay, so this block can also remain unchanged, right? Now what we need to do is target id. So for target id, what we are doing is this is what just a moment. If account type dot lower equals to real. Okay, now what we need to do is actually get account id, right? So what we can do is actually do this. Find a variable called account, target account id and real account id if account type being passed is real, else demo account id, right? Now what we can do is actually call this function and pass account id. Self dot states active account and pass this target account id, right? Okay, and I think we are pretty much done. We are pretty much done. What we might wanna do next is let's ensure if we are successfully switch to particular account or not. And we can confirm it by doing something like this. So we have this thing, right? So we have this thing called self dot active balance id, right? So if active balance id equals active balance id equals target id, right? Target id means the id or the account type that we just passed to switch account to, right? So if self.active id and target id are the same, let's say this, if the target id, right, the target id and currently active balance id is the same, let's consider that we are successfully switched to like account type dot capitalize, then account id, target account id, and then balance of that particular account, right? Now let's make a gateway function in our iqclient.py. Okay, first we need to ensure connected, and then let's do this return self dot account manager dot switch account, and we need to pass account type, right? uh, now let's invoke this function from here. This function is not going to return anything, so let's do algo api dot switch account, and let's set this to real, and let's run the script and see what we are going to get. Okay, so it says for account in accounts type error, int object is not iterable. Int object is not iterable, and we're getting that error, this function, and this is the block that's raising the error for account in accounts. It's probably here. So for account in account, so the error says int object is not iterable. This account is supposed to be list, right? Why is it saying int? So none. We are getting none for what? First thing is we are doing this. Let's get rid of this thing. We don't need to do. We don't need to test demo refill function anymore, right? Why are we getting this 10,005? Switch account, right? We're not calling that function, right? Why are we getting this 10,050? So switch account and then account manager dot switch account, right? And then accounts. Okay, we called the wrong function. This needs to be, we are calling the balance. This needs to be get account balances. Okay, it says successfully switched to real account ID this and balance 0. Now let's change this to real account. Okay, and then let's do demo, and let's see what we are going to get. Is it going to say successfully switched to demo account and ID and balance? Yes, successfully switched to demo account ID ending with 94 and balance 10,050. Okay, so